starting. We are live for season 7, boys. Let's get it going.
What's going on, folks? Welcome to tonight's episode of the Run and Gun podcast. A little bit of a later start than usual, but it's all good because I'm more stress-free than in seasons prior. But also, too, we have a guest. So, Trey, we want to welcome you to the show as well.
Yeah, man. Appreciate being here, man. Glad y'all had me on.
Of course. I can't wait to
Host
hear.
of the No Disrespect But podcast. Ain't that right?
Yeah,
Did I
you
get it
got
right?
it. No disrespect, but podcast, man. You know, a lot of times in these sports debates, folks want to argue for clicks and not just be reasonable people in these debates. So, over on that end, we try to have a little good a positive discourse about what we talk about. It can be a little disrespectful at times, but at the end of the day, no disrespect intended, right? So,
Of course. For that, no, I liked it. That's cool. But yeah, folks, tonight we got a lot of good stuff for y'all and everything. Ace and Trey have something to talk about regarding the Saints. I don't know what happened. They gonna talk about it. I guess I'll figure it out as we go. Also, too, FAMU heads to the Lone Star State this weekend to start off their Texas road tour. So they get Texas Southern this week, and then it's back home against Prairie View Saturday for homecoming. Also, too, the Creamsicles came back this past weekend, and they looked like the old '80s Bucks, where no offense and just making dumb mistakes on defense. I can say this because I've heard horror stories of much darker times, but we're gonna talk about all of it tonight, of course, and everything. Plus, college football and everything. Washington looks unbeatable. Georgia finding rhythm without Brock Bowers. Florida State looks to be dominant on the home stretch here. So we're gonna talk about all of it. Y'all got anything before we get started?
Nah, the usual like, share, subscribe. We're gonna get another season going in. I like this little title you put out here: out of the Bayou and into the Lone Star State.
Yeah. I mean, Trey's from Texas.
Well, from New Orleans, but in Texas.
My bad. Oh my gosh.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay.
Well, yeah, Trey's from New Orleans. He's in Texas. Honestly, I didn't even make a coincidence with that. I just did that. But dang, that's actually crazy how I did that though. But yeah, Trey's in Texas. FAMU's going to Texas this weekend after playing a game in the Bayou. The Saints played the Texans this past weekend.
Yeah.
Don't remind us.
Oh, yeah. It's okay. Nobody here had a good weekend.
I'm keeping some receipts, so it's all good.
Nobody here had a good weekend. It's okay. But it's gonna be fine. It all correlates somehow, some way. So we're gonna roll this intro and get going. So y'all get comfortable, man. Here we go.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is JP.
This is the Bug.
This is JC.
This is Flash.
This is Jimi Hendrix.
And you're listening to
the Run and Gun podcast.
Right into it as we switch up the background. We're gonna go right into it with the HBCU stuff. So first things first, I didn't know this. I didn't know because I remember we were talking about the Valley game a couple weeks ago. I didn't know Trey was, but you said you had family that went there, so I was like, okay, that makes sense. So
yeah, man. Yeah, I had to represent for my fam. Is on the staff over there, so I had to represent for my fam.
I feel that. That's cool though. That's cool. Honestly, dude, I always sit here and I'm like, does Valley have fans because it's like I never see any engagement from them, or is it like just I hate to say it like this, but is it just like a bottomless pit of misery or something?
Hey
Bruh,
man, it could
you
be.
bro got mad at me for trying to poke fire at some of the other SWAC teams, and what he gonna do with?
Look, I'm just saying, but I mean, to be honest, though, look, they got their first win this weekend or this past weekend against UAPB because the thing is always, Valley always gets somebody, and it's
Or
like,
Arkansas Pine Bluff.
yeah, hey, look, every dog has his day, and it was Pine Bluff's day. And Mississippi Valley, they come up, they play hard. They have, from what I've heard, they don't have the benefits the other SWAC schools have. And then it's right off Highway 85. It's not I shouldn't say not the prettiest. I'm being mean now. Let me stop. But anyway, you get the point. So, yeah. But yeah, also too, so FAMU comes in off of a bye week and everything. They face off against Texas Southern this weekend. That game will take place in Houston. One thing Willie Simmons hinted at was, Texas Southern presenting with a 3-man front, one nose tackle. You got 2 edge rushers, pretty much 3 linebackers. A lot. I think he mentioned 5 to 6 DBs on the back end. So he said that the opportunities to run should be there this weekend. Honestly, so I'm expecting a good one. I don't think it's going to be easy because road games in the SWAC are never easy, of course, but it'll be fun. Hopefully, you can get out of this with a win. This can be a pretty scary look. Luckily, Andrew Body's not playing, so I expect to win. Yeah.
Wow, no hype in this game, huh? Wow.
I mean, look, dude, look, next week is homecoming. There's like more of the hype will be next week. It'll be there.
Tell the boys to make sure they don't go schedule watching and checking who's next on the schedule and focus on the business this week.
Look, they need to focus on who they're playing Saturday and not.
That's what I mean.
To come because looking at the SWAC race, it's actually pretty messed up. So you can have say for instance, if FAMU were to lose homecoming, which is not going to happen, they would then, if Prairie View were to win the West and FAMU were to finish with a 9-2 record at that point, Prairie View would still draw the home game for the SWAC championship if they would see each other again. Even though FAMU would have the better record, is what I found out.
The head-to-head.
Exactly. So they don't go based off of best record like most conferences do. Mm-hmm. They go based off of who won the head-to-head matchup. So I question it. I don't get it. I don't like it. But at the same time too, the source I got that from said, don't worry about the points and everything like that and the logistics. Just go out there and just play ball and do what you're supposed to do. And everything else will take care of itself. Because, hell, I already booked my room for Tallahassee for the weekend of the SWAC championship. And I have no intentions of canceling.
FAMU's in the same situation that FSU's in right now, which we'll talk about once we get to college football. But they both have their own destiny in their own hands. You know what I mean? Like, they control their own destiny because, all they got to do, go in, handle business every week for the rest of this season, and don't take a day off, and you're good to go. You're going to win your conference, pretty much.
Facts. I think for Florida State, well, we'll talk about that later. But, yeah. Also, too, Ace, tell us about what Marquise Bell did for Dallas this past weekend.
That bro, hyped the man up, hyped him up so much pre-draft. Said the Saints should have taken him. He would have been the perfect guy for Dennis Allen's defense. What'd he do? He ain't signed. He goes to Dallas. It will cost me a fantasy win this weekend. I was so mad.
Dang.
Bro, Austin Eckler should have had at least 2 TDs, and Mr. Marquise Bell said not to both, and I was like,
so it'll cost you a fantasy win.
Bruh, this is what you get for hyping up guys, man. They come and cost a game.
I'm gonna be real. Did y'all really expect Dennis Allen to take Marquise Bell or give him the ball?
No. Well, I will say I thought we would take Marquise Bell just because he was a ball hawk in college, and so when you got a guy like Marcus Williams who was that for the Saints defense, and you were going to have to replace him, you kind of felt like, oh, Marquise Bell makes sense. But usually, if you're a Saints fan, you understand that the picks that make sense don't always happen outside of Chris Olave. So
this man here, he begged and begged for Mr. Man Brian Branch.
Brian Branch, oh my God.
Yeah, he begged for him, but we won't get into that. We'll get into that in the NFL. But yeah, it's like with Marquise, I was like, Chauncey had left, and I was like, well, I don't think Chauncey had left yet, but he was in a contract year. But it's kind of like you could have put him in the nickel, put him in the box kind of guy, like how Derwin James got used in his rookie start in LA. You could have put him in all different positions. I felt like he would have been perfect for that defense. But hey, Dan Quinn doing wonders with him and his development, so it worked out for the best too. I haven't seen Isaiah Land do much in Indianapolis yet, but Indianapolis is still coming along, so you ain't gonna hear much from him this year. Probably next year you'll hear more.
Yeah, I expect to hear more from him for next year, honestly. But yeah, with Marquise Bell, man, it goes back to what Allison told us last time when we had her on, and she mentioned him in the process of transitioning to the NFL. It's like, just his work ethic, how dedicated he was, choosing to come back to Tallahassee to train in the offseason, the type of player he was. I think, honestly, now that Trey mentioned it, I think Marquise Bell would have been beneficial to the Saints. And I think it would have made sense for the Saints to go after him. He would have been another type of guy like a Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, a big safety type that can play in the box, a guy doing what he's doing now, essentially, although I think he's more so transitioning to like that hybrid linebacker type guy, more so full-time, because the man's put on a lot of weight. He was more slim than that in college, but now he's bulked up now, and I like what I'm seeing. And I was telling someone else this. It's like it just seems like the Cowboys' defense is more fluid when he's in the game. It goes to show that he needs to play more. But you never know when his rookie contract's up. Saints,
I'll say this.
Make the call.
I'm gonna say this. He should have. They kind of all right. So most teams they put like when you play like a Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, you generally have a quarterback spy, right? If you watch the Chargers game, he was basically spying Austin Eckler. Wherever Eckler went, he was going with him. That's why they kept meeting in the box, out in the field. Like he had that matchup on him. I was like, why y'all didn't do this against Christian McCaffrey? I know McCaffrey's like a different beast, as a running back and as a pass catcher, but it's like the games kind of mirror each other and how they play the game. It's just McCaffrey's a different level. But it's like, bro, you could have had him on him, like had Bell on McCaffrey to somewhat mitigate his impact to an extent, as minimal as it might have been, and force Purdy to beat you in the air, which he kind of did with George Kittle. But it's like, if you had a one guy focused on McCaffrey to an extent, at least you could have been able to double team Kittle and not get yourself gaslit by the 49ers off the course, boat race off the field, like how they did Sunday night.
Right. Yeah, I think part of that is because the 49ers use so much motion in their offense and kind of that stretch zone. So where if you want to have a guy focus strictly on Christian McCaffrey, he might get lost with all those big bodies moving. So you might be setting yourself up for more failure. But you never know. Maybe if they meet in the playoffs, they might listen to Ace's scout and might see something different.
Honestly, I mean, it's like it's the Cowboys. Things that make sense typically they don't do. This has been the case since 1996, so you know how this goes. But also too, some other swap games this weekend is we have Alcorn 3-3 against Arkansas Pine Bluff at 1-5. Jackson State travels third place. Jackson State at that travels to the Delta to face off against Trey's Mississippi Valley Delta Devils this weekend. And then Southern and Bethune are going to get it on up in Jacksonville this weekend because it's bike week here in Volusia County.
Yeah, we know Southern's winning that game.
Yeah, go Jags.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, Southern's taking that one. Southern's got to Southern's got to get at least one Florida team this year. So you know who they're going to get.
Everybody getting Bethune. Just saying.
Oh, dude. Wait, does Bethune play? Oh, yeah, they do play Valley. Ew, uh-oh. That might be another one for Valley.
Hey, as long as
We
the DBs play good, that's all I care about.
Oh, so he's the
we
DB
just-
coach?
Something like that.
Okay, that's big.
Yeah.
So wait, so was he under? Was he under Dancy when Vincent?
The coach last year?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a grad assistant, and so he works with the DBs.
Okay, nice. So when Dancy left, then he still stayed on when the new guy
Mhm.
came. Okay, that's cool. Still,
So since we're all fans of academia, he should be graduating next year. So shout out to that.
nice. That's
we had a former grad assistant, now coach over in what school he's on now. You know one of my GPs? We had the guy on.
Coach
I
Lemke.
forget who. Not Lemke. Was it Lemke? No, it was sometime, I want to say in June. I think we had the dude on. I'm forgetting who it is.
I mean, we had.
I'll have to go back and check, but I remember before we end the episode, we had a former grad assistant. He's now the DB coach over in one of them Georgia schools.
Oh, you talking about Coach McKinley? He
Yeah,
was assistant at FAMU, but now he's the DB coach at Albany State. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, he's cool people. Yeah, they actually lost their homecoming in what was a wild
hey,
of homecoming losses. They
you never
lost
know.
they lost to Allen University.
Really? I'm
Yeah,
familiar with Allen.
ooh,
I never heard of him.
nobody expected that upset. Nobody. That was shocking because something was in the water last weekend where Jackson State lose their homecoming. You had Bethune lose their homecoming.
So it makes USF seem slightly better.
Yeah, USF get throttled on their homecoming. Who else was it? Alabama barely survived their homecoming.
Yeah, they won. That's all that matters.
True. But my gosh, it was insane. But all right, boys, let's go ahead and transition now to the NFL. I want to hear about this. I don't know what this
Where
is.
you want to start? You would have guessed, Trey. We agreed. I would have done it last week, but I had an exam. I didn't expect that would be after week 5. So I'm doing my week 6.
So J Peeps, man, our fan base, and I love Who Dat Nation, but sometimes we can get off track, and sometimes that allows a virus to seep into your fan base. And over the past couple of years, you have seen whether it was the Taysom folks versus the Jameis folks, and then the Jameis folks or the anti-Jameis folks just going against Jameis folks, and now you got the Jameis folks and the Carr folks, and I think there's even some Jake Hayner folks in there. To be honest with you, man, but what and Ace can agree with me on this. What we saw was some things last year where the fan base or that segment of the fan base, when we weren't doing so hot the first 3 games, everything fell on the quarterback position. And I get it. It's the most important position in sports. They get all the credit. Obviously, maybe they should get all the blame. But if you actually looked at it, Pete Carmichael sucked as a play caller. I mean, Juice Landry, one of the best slot, wide receivers in the game, one of the best route runners in the game, running 9 routes for whatever reason. Not to mention our offensive line play was bad. Trevor Penning, who we traded up for, got hurt. So he missed.
Last year.
Yeah, so he missed most of his rookie season, which meant that James Hurst had to play left tackle. But what nobody talks about is that he didn't even participate in the offseason because he got hurt early on. So think of your starting left tackle being somebody that had 0 reps with you. Michael Thomas, who didn't really perform in the offseason program, having 0 reps with you. But we couldn't talk about those things, right? It had to be Jameis. And it unfortunately, those types of people, they had the loudest voices at that point in time. And usually when they have the loudest voices, obviously you have the Jameis fans or stands, as they are called at times, having to step in as well. And so we dealt with that for the first 3 games. Then Andy Dalton comes in after Jameis is injured, although a few weeks later, Dennis Allen says he's healthy. For what reason, we don't know. But
Mhm.
obviously, we go nowhere fast. 7-10 season. It's truly disappointing. And we're going on to the offseason. And everybody's saying, hey, we need to go look for another quarterback. Now, myself, I'm saying, look, man, Jameis is 6-4 in his starts as a New Orleans Saints quarterback. He's coming into the last year of his deal. Why do we need to pay somebody in free agency a lot of money? Maybe if you want to get, Aaron Rodgers in, sure. But why do that? You can bring Jameis back. You can draft the quarterback in the 2023 draft. If things don't look good, first 3 or 4 weeks, you sit Jameis down. You let this young guy play. See if he's the guy. If he is, awesome. That means we have a franchise quarterback, or at least that's what it looks like short term. If he's not, we're looking to 2024. Well, that segment of the fan base said, Trey, you are an idiot. Shut up. No, we're going to get a quarterback. And the savior of this franchise will be none other than David's little brother, Derek Carr. The same Derek Carr who had his worst year as a pro last year, while also having the best wide receiver in the league, right? While also having the league's leading rusher in Josh Jacobs, right? But also got benched and quit on his team by leaving when he could have stayed, helped Jarrett Stidham prepare for the next 2 weeks, be a good team player. He decided to take his ball and go home. We decided to reward him in all his efforts with 4 years, $150 million, 100 of that being guaranteed. Saints Twitter, the smart ones, as they like to believe, will tell you, oh, it's just a 2-year deal. He's a middle of the pack quarterback, which is true, right? But you forget one thing. Your organization told you that quarterback was our only issue. It wasn't coaching. It wasn't offensive line play. It wasn't injuries to the skilled players. It was the quarterback. We get a guy who's intelligent, can make the checks at the line, something we haven't had since Drew Brees. God rest his career soul, because we really miss him. But Derek's going to come in. He had a shitty defense in Oakland and Las Vegas. He's getting the top 5 unit. They're going to do their part. Derek's going to come in. He's going to be the adult in the room. Not to mention that when he signed, we assumed that Jameis would be released. That didn't happen. So that makes matters worse for this season because they kind of kept that division going. But obviously Mickey saw something or didn't see something in Derek Carr that made him feel like he needed to keep a guy that won 60% of his starts on the roster. But nevertheless, we go into the offseason, and everybody's telling me, Trey, we're going to be great. We're going 14-3. We're going to the Super Bowl. And Ace can attest to this. The whole time from signing until maybe training camp, I said, guys, we got to keep these expectations low. Look,
I said? What did I say?
When Derek Carr had zero expectations in Oakland, Las Vegas, he played well. He was a guy you could root for. And the 1 year after they got to the playoffs, when nobody thought they'd get to the playoffs, when John Gruden got fired, and they get a good coach in Josh McDaniels. They get Devontae Adams, who at that time was the best receiver in the league. Everybody was saying, well, crap, they made the playoffs last year. They might, be giving the Chiefs a run for their money in the division. They might be giving a lot of teams in the AFC a run for that conference. And that pressure got to them. So me being a reasonable Saints fan, as I like to say, I just wanted to keep and temper those expectations. They told me, shut up. We're not listening to you. You don't know what you're talking about. You're being a hater. We love that word down there or in this fan base. And I said, you know what? Okay. Especially when it's one thing for fans, right? I think we're supposed to have outlandish views of our team and what we're going to do. And I understand that part. But when media, who are supposed to be professionals and unbiased to a degree, when players like Cam Jordan and DeMario Davis and Michael Thomas saying, thank you, God, when Derek Carr joins our team, when they start to pile in on that, right, then it's like, okay, well, I can't really save my little Derek as I used to love to call him before this season. I can't save him from those expectations, and we have to deal with what we deal with. And it took the first game of the season, right, Ace, where we start to talk about the offensive line, the coaching, Pete Carmichael stuff, right?
Everything started coming up. Same stuff last year
Right.
happened. Those narratives popped up instead of the other one that was coming running last year.
Right. So it's like, now everybody wants to be objective. Now everybody wants Who Dat Nation to see all the things at once. And normally, J Peeps, Ace, I can agree with that. We can just move forward, see what we see. But I was just of the mindset of, nah, man, forget y'all. Because last year when I was trying to do this, all off season, when I was trying to do this, y'all didn't want to listen to me. Y'all didn't want to be objective. Y'all didn't want to understand that this offensive line that broke Jameis's back, broke his foot, ended Drew Brees' career, signs James Hurst, who wasn't on that team. I'm not going to give him that part of it. You didn't care because you said, oh, the sacks, man, that's because of the quarterback. The quarterback we had before, he was a dummy. So Derek Carr's going to come. He's going to check the line. Peter Carmichael, Peter Carmichael was handcuffed as a play caller, right? Because his quarterback was too dumb, or this other quarterback was just too old and didn't have the physical abilities to get things done. So now he has a guy that's smart and physically talented. We're going to be good. Okay, well, clearly the first 2 weeks our offense sucked. Green Bay game, which was the true test, right? We're up 17-0, and you start this
10 points by the offense. Say that
right?
first. Say that first. 10 points
Right.
by the offense.
10 points by the offense. That's true, Ace. Thank you for keeping me honest. So 10 points by the offense. Punt return by Rashid Shaheed, right? We start to get conservative. At least I noticed we started to get conservative in some of our play calling.
I thought that was the case as well.
Okay, I'm glad you saw it. I'm glad you saw it too. But we started to get conservative, but nobody really pointed it out. Derek Carr gets injured, and Jameis Winston comes in. Now, objectively, right? You just lost your starting quarterback, right?
Time out.
Go ahead.
We're gonna talk about the play where Carr got hurt first. Whole time Jameis was quarterback. Okay, let's get this one thing clear before I get going.
Go ahead.
Carr and Jameis, neither one of them are the answer for the Saints, right? Long term, neither one are the answer.
I agree.
I don't know. This whole Carr versus Jameis thing, that's just stupidity in a nutshell, right? Cool. Now let's get to this point. All last year when Jameis was saying, they said Jameis got hurt because he got sacked so many times because he never took the check down. He always looked for the big play, right? All right, cool. Carr got hurt. What do you think he was doing? Let's get this straight. What do you think that man was doing when he got hurt? He had Jimmy Graham right there open in the flat, right? 2 yards in front of the first down marker. 3rd and 9. All right, cool. One guy to beat, right? Carmichael had the play calls. Everybody was about 20 yards deep, right? Because they were trying to go for a big play or whatever. 3rd down. This 3rd and 9 with that offensive line. 3 seconds in, Ramczyk gets beat by Rashawn Gary. Less than 3 seconds, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a roughing the passer, by the way, on Gary, but we didn't get into that. Carr got hurt, right? Ain't nobody talking about how Carr held that ball way too long. That man held that ball, could have hit Jimmy Graham right there in the flat. Jimmy Graham had one man to beat. Jimmy Graham 6'6", big boy. He got to beat one man. If not, you're 4th and short, worst case scenario. All right, this is inside the 40, so you could have gone for it or kicked a long field goal, either one, right?
Right.
Nah, they ain't talking about that. They said, oh, it was the offensive line for not protecting Carr. It wasn't not Tim looking for the big play. So I just wanted to throw that out there for how Carr got hurt to begin with.
Yeah,
all right,
that's
take back
true.
over.
That's true. And then Jameis comes in. We're still conservative because we have a 17-point lead. Just lost your starting quarterback. Objectively, you don't want your second string quarterback to get hurt because he's just coming off a season-ending injury, right? And Taysom gets utilized everywhere, but usually when a starting quarterback gets hurt, we can't use Taysom anymore. So you're trying to play it safe. I can understand that. But instead, when the fan base had a chance to still kind of be collective, right, and say, damn, our offensive line sucks. Damn, our play caller sucks. They didn't. They went back to what they did last year, which was blame one player for a loss. A player that once you opened up the playbook, right, drove you downfield, put you in position to win the game, and your kicker misses the field goal, which we were told, Ace, you're not supposed to put a kicker in a position to kick a field goal.
No, leave that.
And then we fast
No, I'm
forward
getting to that in a minute.
and then we get to Carr comes back, I think a little bit selfishly, plays hurt, sucks.
We selfishly a bit selfishly. Man didn't take any reps in practice. He came back Friday before the game and decided I'm gonna be a limited participant in practice. And bro could not throw that ball 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. I swear to God. If you watch that game, every pass was a check down. And the man wasn't even throwing to Kamara while he was on the run. You know, if you watch that game, Kamara had to stand there and wait for that ball to get to him. So he had to go from 0 to 60. And I'm like, why is this man playing this game?
But he shouldn't have been playing, right? But again, that's when the fan base then again wanted to, as a collective, say, "Oh, well, our offensive line still sucks, our play caller sucks, and all of this and that." Never mind that Carr quit in that game because he decided that because he wasn't our saving grace against the mighty Tampa Bay Baker Mayfield, that he didn't want to play anymore.
Yet to beat.
He ripped his sleeve off. And it had some people telling me, "Hey, man, like, hey, you don't know what quitting looks like." I mean, I've played sports all my life. I know a quitter when I see one. I know the actions of a quitter, right? So,
bro,
he
cooking here.
he quits, right? He quits, right? Jameis comes in, which, granted, Trey, well, we weren't going to win the game anyway. That's why Carr wasn't out, right? Okay, I can agree with you, except why is Jameis throwing the ball? If we're just calling it quits, waving the white flag, I'm handing it to Prentice, who sucks, by the way. I'm just handing it to him 3 straight times and punting because we're waving the white flag. But instead, you put Jameson behind that bum offensive line. Hurts lets the defender come through like it's ladies' night and hits James as he's throwing the ball, and it's an interception. And nobody wants to talk about the first 3.5 quarters anymore. They want to talk about Jameis Winston threw an interception. So it just kind of showed that hypocrisy a little bit, and it boiled to a head, right? It boiled to a head. Go ahead, Ace.
Carr fumbled the drive before he quit.
He did.
On fourth down.
And that's when he quit.
Reporters ain't saying nothing about that. First tweet Jameis out there. Jameis threw an interception. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we know the media kings. I'm not trying to get sued, and I definitely don't want y'all to get sued because they got real expensive cameras, so I won't say their name. But by the way, I stand with TJ.
Now,
anyway, I'm sorry. Everything boils to a head against the Texans, right? A chance to show that what you did against New England was not a fluke, that you are really that team. Peter Carmichael has dusted off the playbook and he's ready to cook. And y'all saw the game. And granted, look, Blake Groupie looks like he just graduated middle school, right? He misses a few kicks. And I get it. It's his job to make kicks, right? But I decided to be petty for once and say, well, no, guys, you aren't supposed to put a rookie in that position, right? That's what we said a few weeks ago. But then nobody wants to talk about it. And nobody wants to talk about how our quarterback, our $150 million quarterback, regardless of if he was paid middle of the pack money, right? We weren't sold that he was a middle of the pack player. We were told, yeah, he's about a 12 to 15 guy right now because he played with whatever they had in Vegas and Oakland. But, man, he's about to have Chris Olave. He's about to have Michael Thomas. He's about to have Rashid Shaheed, Alvin Kamara. Top 5, Trey. Top 5. Hell, he's going to win an MVP. He's going to throw for 5,000 yards, something he's never done. He's going to throw for over 30 touchdowns, I think something he's only done once.
People say he's going to be the second best quarterback behind Jalen Hurts.
Right. And Peter Carmichael, who sucks at calling red zone plays, somehow he's going to put the magic sauce on Derek Carr, the worst red zone quarterback last year, and they're going to be awesome.
I will
Let me know. We have the worst. Go ahead, JP. What you got?
I was going to say this, and now I was going to interject at the end. But I will say I had one fan, and I sent Ace a screenshot of who said it.
Oh, yeah. You sent me it.
That told me that Derek Carr was going to be the quarterback that led the Saints to a Super Bowl.
And man, look, in my
We'll get
heart
to
of
that
hearts,
drunk.
I still hope he's that quarterback that leads us to the Super Bowl.
Hmm.
But
Nah,
I need
I ain't
my
gonna be
fan
doing
base,
that.
right? I mean, I'm a fan. I gotta hope. I'm not in this to lose, right?
Of course.
Bro, I'm in this to get Dennis on out of the head coaching job at this point. That is the only reason I'm stuck in here. I'm just saying, all I need him to do is miss the playoffs because I mean he's
Right.
probably getting fired. I need the Bucks to win this division so bad because if the Bucks or the Falcons win this division,
I
he's getting
can't.
fired.
I can't live with it. I can't live with it. I mean, you're
I will be
right.
sick
You're
for
right.
1 year.
But I can't live
I'll
with
be
it.
sick for 1 year. I'll be sick for 1 year. But at that point, I'm gonna have probably a top 10 pick. I'm gonna
That's
be in
true.
perfect position to take either one of hell. If you're a top 7, you can trade up. You have that Broncos second round pick. Use that
Right.
trade up. You go get Drake May. You ain't getting Caleb. Don't worry about that. You can get Drake May if you want.
But I don't
You
want
get Michael
Caleb anyway.
Penix. You can get Michael Penix. You can get Jordan Travis. You can get well hell if Predigosh Shadur came out this year, but he ain't coming
He
out this
won't.
year.
He
You can
won't.
get Shadur.
That's not letting him. Him and Shiloh aren't coming out.
Yeah,
I
but
think
anyway,
he
you
needs
get my
more
point.
tape anyway.
If you
So
miss the playoffs, you have a high chance of getting
Yeah,
a
he
good
could
quarterback. Hire Ben Johnson. You'd be fine. But anyway, all right, go back to what we're doing before I get into this whole thing of comparing 12 and 13 and the
will-
hypocrisy of the Saints and head coaching. Go JP's first.
I will say this. From what I'm hearing, this sounds a lot like what Tampa folks went through from 2015 to 2019. This is what everybody went through. This
The Dirk Cutter era.
Lovey and Dirk Cutter eras.
Oh yeah,
And, like,
right. Well, it was 2015.
this is exactly what Bucks fans went through. This with Jameis, there is going to be controversy. This goes back to ever since Jameis was lighting it up 2013 at Florida State and everything such as that, and then they found out about the allegations. Controversy came about 2014 with the whole, getting in the student union when he screamed what he screamed. Controversy surrounded that. There was even an article that came out a couple years, like literally the year after Jimbo left Florida State, regarding that of how the situation should have been handled and how it was handled. There was a right way that they handled. There was a way that they handled it, and then there was the right way how they should have handled it. And then, of course, you see him come to Tampa. He still is not mature yet. But then eventually he gets baptized. He changes his way. He becomes a better father. He gets married. Gives his life to Christ, which was, I think, put him on the straight path of staying out of trouble and everything such as that. But then you had, because there was always moments where Jameis would give you the, oh my gosh, wow, like this might be something. And then there's moments like, oh my gosh, get him out of here right now. He's gonna make you smile, but at the same time too, he's gonna make you cry. And so that's where there was a rift in toxicity amongst the Bucks fan base. There were people that are drawn to the excitement and living on the edge and living on the side of danger. There are people that want a game manager or someone like a Tom Brady who eventually would come along and lead them to a Super Bowl. And right now, I think the Saints have the same issue amongst your fan base where you have those that are supportive of Jameis. And also, too, I do think that, Jameis being an African-American quarterback also plays a factor in it because I'm going to be real with you. I think part of half of your fan base does not want Jameis there. You probably didn't want him there to begin with. Same way in Tampa.
I'm getting to that drunk.
There are those that wanted Jameis in Tampa, or no, those that wanted Jameis in Tampa. There are those that did not want Jameis in Tampa. Just going to call it like it is. I could say the same thing and go further back. There were those that wanted Tony Dungy in Tampa. And there were probably some of those that didn't want Dungy in Tampa.
I like what you're doing with your hand, and I know what you're doing with your hand, but I'm not going to say anything. Keep going.
Exactly. There's hidden messages with everything. And if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. But yes, I think James, there's nothing wrong. I don't think James is a long-term answer in New Orleans. I feel like James needs to get out of the NFC South altogether. His next, for the love of God, please don't let his next stop be Atlanta or Carolina. Get out. Go with Pete Carroll and Geno Smith or something. Seriously. Do something like that. Just get out of the NFC South altogether. So I told Ace this last year. He needs to just leave the NFC South. But I do think that, part of it is this. I do think part of it is, not being in his best interest. I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fan base that wanted Todd Bowman and Jake Delhomme to start over Aaron Brooks, who was clearly better. Fan base that wanted Taysom Hill, who had only
Or Teddy.
thrown 2 passes in the NFL at that point in time, to start over Teddy Bridgewater, who, if his kicker wasn't like Blake Groupie, would have beat the Legion of Boom in the playoffs his rookie year. So
Mhm.
it happens. It's way before Jameis ever got here. And he just happened to be the guy. And to your point, I would say the only difference in New Orleans is that in 10 games, only one game he showed you those tendencies where you were like, oh my God, like why are you throwing the ball there? Right. And
Yeah.
that was the game against Tampa Bay. So
When his foot went bye-bye. And his
right, but
back
out of
went bye-bye.
out of 10
Yeah.
starts, right?
Yeah.
And 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 what I find funny now with this year compared to those couple years is you were wanting a guy making between 10 and $15 million a year to reflect what we saw in Drew, that presence, that just moxie of getting our offense together. But this year, a guy that's making 10 times that much, we can't talk about. It makes no sense to me.
Now, my next question is this: is that Jameis one account like hardcore Saints now?
Bro, we
No,
don't
I
know James
blocked him, so
101.
I don't know.
I don't know that person. When I see the Saints as the local game for my Fox, just seeing the extra foggy and gloomy. That's just Pete Carmichael coaching for you, buddy. That's why it looks like that.
I mean,
All right, this one. He could have, but I don't know how you say this. I didn't want him as a head coach, but he got the job because he was Sean's DC and Sean told the Saints. Sean still had control of that organization when he left. I ain't gonna say retired. He quit and left, right? But he still had control of that organization. He gave Dennis Allen the blessing or whatever, and the franchise went with Sean's wishes, and he got the job. And while they said it was a proper head coaching interview process for Bieniemy, like Bieniemy did not have a shot at that job. He could have interviewed as well as he wanted. He did not have a shot at that job. So I'm gonna just say that. All right, drunk. This one, yeah, Michael Thompson, Alvin Kamara. Like, how do I say this? Alvin Kamara got a ball 4th down with no blockers in front of him, with 2 guys right in front of him in this Texans game. I ain't gonna say that's his fault. I'm gonna just leave it like that.
The funniest thing I saw was
Michael Thomas. All these years, right? Michael Thomas got the slant man jokes, right? Devontae Adams is a better slant runner than Michael Thomas, but we ain't getting into that, right?
Devontae Adams, AJ Brown.
Hold up.
Right, them was some real good slant runners.
Hold up, because the funniest thing was,
but MT got 1 slant a game these days. I don't want to talk about none of that. It is cash money in the bank, stealing from a baby kind of money. If you give MT a slant, bro, ain't getting no slants. All right, JP, say what you want to say. Oh wait, hold on, he got one more thing here. Absolutely insane. Taysom Hill's been the dead. That offense still terrible. You got MT, you got Olave, you got Kamara. You got Kendrick Miller, actually pretty good. You got Jimmy Grant in the red zone. Who your best playmaker these days? Taysom Hill was your leading receiver.
Taysom Hill, man.
The leading receiver through the first half. Because y'all, okay, JP, sorry, what you want to say before I get into this Olave stuff? I just need to talk about this.
I was just gonna say, like, the funniest thing I saw this weekend was when Jameis seemed like he was like acting like a Jehovah's Witness, preaching the word to Alvin Kamara, and Kamara's just sitting there like, okay, I got it, thank you. And he was just like going on and on and on. I just thought that was just tickle me pink.
Yeah, but it was just, what was crazy about that play, man, was that it wasn't necessarily, and forgive me, this is not defending Pete Carmichael in any way, right? It wasn't necessarily a bad play call. It was just horrible execution. And what I mean by that, when you watch it more and more, so Michael Thomas is essentially running a pick route to get AK one-on-one with the corner. But Carr doesn't, as soon as he calls Hut, he throws it to AK, which basically means the linebacker that should be occupied by Michael Thomas just makes a beeline to AK, and then it's 2 versus 1. And so you put Michael Thomas in the situation where I can't block yet, because if Michael Thomas blocks or makes contact with the linebacker, then it's going to be offensive pass interference for getting backed up. So, like, you didn't execute the play. I wouldn't have made the play call, right? But anybody would say you have to make your coaches right sometimes. And I just think we were in a situation where we didn't make the coaches right. And I know Ace is fuming over there, man, because we're so bad about talking about the $150 man, $150 million man that
Midar.
now there has been some discourse between our wide receivers, Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, and saying who's the better of the two. And
All right. All
that's
right. Glad you
hilarious.
brought that up. My time. I'm gonna take this one. Cool. All right, guys. Time to step into the office. Time for some ace time. Time to preach. I'm just kidding. All right, let's go. Let's see how we start this. We talk about Carr can't throw the ball past 5 yards in the Bucks game, right? Chris Olave had the worst game of his career. First game he never had under 10 receiving yards in a game, right?
Mhm.
He had a 16-game streak, I believe, at that point. It was second to Michael Thomas and Anquan Bolden, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Worst game of his career. Man, just running cardio, basically. Because the one time he did get a shot, Carr missed him, underthrew it a couple times in that game. All right. Then he threw one deep shot to him in the end zone. That ball came out way too late. He had 2 steps on that corner. That ball came out enough time for I believe Carlton Davis. Or was it Jamel Dean? I don't know which one of the Bucks corners was able
I
to
think it
come
was
up.
Dean.
Antoine Dean and Winfield came up and
Mhm.
stopped the ball from getting to him, right? Cool. Any receiver, if you have a quarterback who can't throw past 5 yards, I don't even care. Michael Thomas got to be the greatest professional in the world to not say a word about that, because I'd be pissed as hell if I'm like, I'm out here running my route. This is what I get paid to do. If I can't catch a ball past 5 yards, I'm not getting paid, right? You are affecting my livelihood. And you can't even throw this ball past 5 yards. You can't get me the ball so I can actually do stuff to get paid. Even though he's not in a contract year. He's a rookie still. Or not a rookie. He's a second year, right?
Yeah.
Drunk, I'm glad you brought this point up, but I'm going to get into that in a minute. Let me keep preaching here. The preach it takes a lot to get going, right? I know Trey's only got an hour, so I got 14
Is that right?
minutes.
Take your time. Take your time, preacher. Take your time.
I'm gonna get to this. All right, cool. One catch, I believe 6 yards in this game against the Bucks, right?
I mean, Brandon,
And it's one.
be nice.
Brandon Ayuk this year has been inconsistent as hell. I'm gonna be real. He ain't been like last year. Brandon Ayuk was all right. He was pretty decent. He'd be like top 20-ish, top 30 receiver in the league. He's not no top 10, top 5 receiver, right? We'll get into what Olave and his reasons why he's not a top 5 yet in like 3 minutes. All right, cool. Bucks game, one catch, 6 yards. Going on now. This is to I believe the Patriots game is next, right? Right? Wasn't
Yeah.
the Patriots game next? Patriots game next. Cool. Bro had 2 catches, I believe, for 12 yards. In the Bucks game, he had one bubble screen blown up, and then he had one out route that was like 6 yards, whatever, right? Cool. Goes to the Patriots game. You have a team just lost their best corner in Christian Gonzalez to a shoulder injury that takes him out for the out of the year. You do not have your best corner. Your secondary is depleted. You just traded for J.C. Jackson, who was barbecue chicken in training camp. He was barbecue chicken in L.A. Man was terrible. And what does Olave get? He got 5 targets. How many of them were in the first quarter? How many of them were in the second quarter? 1, I believe. Then he got 1 at the end. He got a couple of targets. One of them, he didn't get his foot down on the out of bounds. And then the next one should have been a touchdown. If that was ruled in the field, that would have been ruled a fumble. I'm 100% sure of that. And I've seen plays where wide receivers had the ball across the end zone and lost it immediately after, and they said it wasn't a catch. Okay, he landed, ball pops out when he rolls over. They ruled that didn't survive in the catch, right? He had 2 catches, 12 yards, and a touchdown. The touchdown was in the end zone when he slipped away, and Carr finally found him. Where in Oakland or Las Vegas, he would have thrown the ball over the head, but whatever. I digress on that, right? Cool. 5 targets, best receiver. Got 5 targets in that game. And y'all said he was quitting on routes, whatnot, and he was winning his routes. How the hell did you think he get open for a touchdown that he should have probably caught? But, Chris Olave's biggest weakness right now is the ground, or whenever he touches the ball. That's been his problem since he was a rookie. Cool. First half of this Houston Texans game. Actually, let's go before the Houston Texans game. That week of between. Trey, know what I'm talking about. There were reports saying he's quitting on his routes. Might I add you, before that Patriots game, Mr. Man who couldn't be objective in his tweets about a quarterback, in his coverage about a quarterback, and a left tackle. We'll get into the left tackle in a bit. Cool. He said Chris Olave's warming up with the trainer, right? And it's saying they don't know what the issue is, but they know he's somewhat got a little gimpy in the foot. Cool. Comes out. Wednesday, toe injury, right? Or no, after the game they said it was a toe injury. Practice, he was limited participant with the toe injury, right? Might have had toe injuries what knocked Michael Thomas out of the season last year. Turf toe took him out for the last year, but it's not that extent.
Don't do Mike like that, man.
Not that bad. It ain't as bad as what happened with Mike. Man still showing up to work, right? Cool. His quarterback can't throw it past 15 yards accurately right now, still dinged up. Hell, Michael Thomas could say that's still dinged up. Bro can't even hit him. We ain't talking about that MT interception in that Patriots game. Anyway, but we get into this Texans game. First half, how many targets he had in the first half? In the first quarter, first 15 plays. Scripted Pete is where he's supposed to cook. How many play calls he had in the first quarter? Trey, how many he had? I'm gonna let you answer that one. I think he had one.
It was one.
It was one.
One in the first quarter.
One in the first 15.
Oh.
It was bad, right? Bro's your best receiver. We're gonna get into the 12-13 comparison, but since last year, Chris Olave dealt with 3 quarterbacks. He had Jameis running the ball, Andy Dalton, and Taysom Hill running the ball. Bro had 13 games. He was injured with 2 with the hamstring or concussion. I believe 1 in hamstring and the other, right?
Yep.
Lost rookie of the year. He didn't even get a finalist because of those 3 games he missed. And he had identical numbers to Garrett Wilson, who was preached as an all-pro second coming of Devontae Adams kind of receiver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bro had 1,100 yards with Andy Dalton and James Winston as his quarterback. Michael Thomas played 3 games that season. He was your undisputed number 1 wide receiver, took double coverage every single game, got bracketed by Marlon Humphrey, and I believe Marcus Williams got hurt that season, but whoever to say, Chuck Clark, I believe it was, the safety for Baltimore. There are videos out there of Chris Olave riding up Marlon Humphrey barbecue chicken style, right, against Baltimore. Bro went crazy last year. They ain't talking about that. They say, oh, bro can't take double coverage. Michael Thomas is the only one who can take double coverage. He's quitting on his routes halfway. He ain't a number 1 wide receiver. He's mid. They should trade him. Whatnot. That's actually after the Texans game. But still, first half of this game, right? Texans, 1 catch first quarter. Second quarter, end of the half, he finally gets another target in the end zone. Derek Carr overthrow. Well, they said was overthrown. I believe it was kind of overthrown because he threw that ball way too inside.
Yep.
Because if they want to say Olave should have got that ball, Shaquille Griffin should have picked that ball off, if we're being real. He had a better shot at picking that ball off than Olave had of making that catch. But they say Olave quit on the routes. He's not a team player. He's mad. He's a diva. He's Brandon Cooks 2.0. They're going to trade him, blah, blah, blah. What was his stat line at the end of the game? I have it right here. I know what the stat line is. This is the first time I've ever seen a receiver go 7 of 10, 96 yards in pretty much the second half. This was pretty much all in the second half he did this. Then they were talking about trading this man at halftime. They were saying, hey, we got to trade this guy. He's quitting on his own. He ain't a team player. We got to get rid of him. This is at halftime, mind you. Cool. I got the screenshots now. Time to pull it up.
Uh-oh. He got the receipts. I love this.
Gosh. Jeez.
All right, I ain't gonna say it is. He's a pretty decent Saints guy on Twitter. Rev Deuce, man, got a tweet saying Chris Olave quitting on routes, half running is most frustrating part of the on-field play for me. Looking at this post route, everything is to be a stud, and if this is called is for you, every rep looks like it is. Hurts might lose the rep, but always gives 100%. Bullshit. James Hurts has been garbage. Bro getting beat on every run play. All right, cool. I forgot IU. I hate making Chris Olave look like Kenny Stills.
Hey, that's more accurate. That is more accurate what they're doing to my boy right now.
I was reading, I was like, that is pretty accurate.
If I'm the Saints group chat, Marshawn said we got to give CJ Sprout. Okay, I was saying CJ Stroud was going to cook him anyway, so I ain't worried. David Carr better than Derek Carr out of debate anyway. That's the man right here. You got to debate.
Pretty true.
Little David, little brother. David, little brother. All right, cool. Darth State, hot take. Saints should trade Chris Olave. The effort's now lack there. If it doesn't line up with the money his agent will ask for in 2025. Brandon Cooks 2.0. All right, cool. That man went private afterward. But anyway, my boy Hot Take Taylor, he's saying trade Olave for Devontae Adams. All right, cool. Devontae Adams over 30, mind you. Chris Olave had 1,700 with Derek Carr. What was their record? That's all I gotta say, right? Now the fun part. Your boy TJ was comparing Olave and MT, saying MT was so much superior to him. MT's numbers have been mediocre at best. I don't want to say it, but MT's 2019 days, as of right now, has not shown me that man still has 2019 in how do I say this? Aggressiveness. He still has the hunger in him, and he's still probably a top 30 wide receiver, but he ain't number top 5 like what he
He's not
was
that great.
119. Right? Cool. Olave can beat you short, Olave can beat you intermediate, and he can beat you deep, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was Olave's most known for play when he played with Justin Fields and CJ Stroud? Deep crosses, right?
Yeah.
He was annihilating defense. How do you think Clemson, I believe Clemson and Ohio State played, and that's the year Sean Wade got torched by Devontae Smith in the championship, right? Joseph Fields, Trevor Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
What was the play that ended that game? Deep post to Olave. How many plays has he gotten since he's been with the Saints that are exactly like that? That is his bread and butter.
Oh, really?
He has not got a single one of those plays, right? Cool. Now, we got people saying MT better than Olave. Olave's a wide receiver 2, mid at best, right? We got these guys saying that quitting on routes, no effort. If you got a new coach coming in, he's going to trade you no matter what your attitude is. Okay, fine. You're going to say all that. If Olave's quitting on a route when he's 30 yards down the field and he hasn't got the ball yet, he knows his offensive line can't protect squat, right? The players know it. Oh, bro, Alvin Kamara called out those play calling and his offensive line for whatever it is, right? You paid a quarterback $150 million, right? Cool. We're saying there's a mediocre mid quarterback, mid contract, right? You was sold as a profile raiser. You gave Devontae Adams 1,700 yards last year, right? Your 2 games after he got hurt, actually, since the Packers game, they have been trying to be a run-first team after Kamara called him out when he came back from his suspension, right? He said, bro, we got to call. I don't know what we're doing on offense, and he wants to run the ball more. He said ignore last comment typo. Okay, cool. I don't know. Anyway, right? Want to be a run-first team. Derek Carr's throwing the ball less, but you're paid $150 million more to be a run-first ground and pound team, right? When you have arguably a top 3 wide receiver trio in the league between MT, Olave, and Shaheed, right? Yeah, cool. Olave is the only reason why you beat the Titans. He is the only reason why you were up against the Packers with those 10 points because he was making some crazy catches to start that game. And when Jameis was in, you're saying Olave's freestyling on his routes, right? I can name you about 10 cases where Olave and Michael Thomas are in the same area because of play calling. And if you watch the end of the Texans game, MT and Olave had no idea what the play call was. In a 2-minute drill, it is the quarterback calling those plays. That is why the reason why the Saints offense looked better last year when Andy Dalton was calling plays in 2-minute drill than they were the entire game throughout, because quarterback calls plays in 2-minute drill and not coaches, because when you're running no huddle, you don't have time to get a play call from a coach up in the booth and your headset, right? Right. Cool. You had timeouts to end with that game against Houston. Y'all didn't call a timeout, and your wide receivers did not know the play calls, and your quarterback was missing throws. And y'all saying, dude had 7 and 96. We're trading this man, and he's not a good wide receiver, and he's mid at best. Y'all went through how many years of Michael Thomas and nobodies? You would have went through 2 years. 2 years when Michael Thomas was hurt before Olave showed up. You went through Kevin White, Traquan Smith, and Austin Carr. Jameis threw 5 touchdowns with Austin Carr and Chris Hogan as his best wide receivers. I don't want to hear squat about y'all saying trade Olave. Y'all don't deserve the attitude to be able to go up and say, we could trade our best wide receiver who could be top 5 potential and is a top 15 one right now. Wow. Because he's freestyling his routes.
Wow.
Hell, you do not say – oh, Saints have been –
wow. Yeah, post that one.
All right. Sermon's over.
Discussion. Let y'all handle that one. How about that?
I know Trey got to go soon. So
look, there's a little truth, but I'm gonna say you're kind of a little bit off on that one because you don't really have to rebuild. We're in the NFC South. Technically speaking, we're a game out, so within the division. Yeah. I think going full rebuild, you never really have to do. I would say what the Saints have done that they maybe shouldn't have is invest more and more money into some of the older players. When you could potentially be moving off of those guys, I think, again, when you had a guy who was going to be making, $15 million this year, why go and get somebody that's going to be making $37.5 million? You don't need to get into that contract. Yeah, we can still theoretically draft a quarterback next year, and they sit behind Carr for a few games. But it's a guy that has shown you that he doesn't want to do that. He had that opportunity last year with Jared Stidham, didn't take it. What makes me believe that he's going to be that good of a teammate to a guy that's drafted to take your job? Jake Hayner wasn't drafted to take anybody's job, right? That quarterback next year, they're drafted to take over the QB1 position. You can say guys like Michael Thomas shouldn't be there. I mean, technically speaking, if we suck this year, he won't be here next year. He's on the last year of his contract. I think he's been as calm as he's been because he knows after this year, I'm going to play with Patrick Mahomes. Andy Reid going to scheme me up. I'm going to look like 2019 or at least a little version of it, and I might get a ring out of it. He knows that. Tyrann Mathieu, I'm glad he's here. Did I think we needed him? No, I think we should have prioritized keeping Marcus Williams, but glad he's home. If you know anything about the Saints, especially this regime, they want to get the feel-good stories, right? You get the Tyrann Mathieu, you get the Juice Landry, you get the Jimmy Graham, so that we forget how inept you are and how inept you've been as an organization and have been for quite a long time. You know, just Drew Brees was able to cover a lot of those mistakes up. And so now that he's retired, right, you're starting to see that coaching staff isn't quite as deep as you thought it was. The organization in terms of getting assets, which we should have saw when Marcus Colston was by himself for a long time. Then you get a Brandon Cooks, and then you get a Michael Thomas. But Brandon Cooks is being a little pissant and wants more targets, even though he's leading the team in targets. He gets traded, and then you have Michael Thomas by himself. And lo and behold, we save him by getting Ted Ginn. That is our big acquisition at the wide receiver position, right?
Going after Devontae Parker. Albeit Michael Thomas and Devontae was beefing at that time. They should have still went after Devontae.
And then you draft Traquan Smith, who, by the way, led college football in receiving yards or reception, yards per reception in college, right? But what we didn't know as fans was that Drew Brees' arm was already shot. So you got a deep threat that you couldn't use. So you basically made him a second string tackle, right? Because that's all we talked about. A guy that was a deep threat, had Mackenzie Milton looking like he was about to be the top pick in the draft, now is only known for blocking. That's what happened. So we didn't really bring in the talent. So again, you have a point that maybe we are avoiding the inevitable, but I will say, do we trust? I don't trust this organization to take advantage of an actual rebuild and get the right quarterback and get the right head coach in and get the right pieces around them, because you wasted a Hall of Fame career in Drew Brees, right? We saw that he was making something out of literally nothing. And we had a coach that felt like, oh, well, I don't need marquee receivers to get things done. And it just so happened that the year after Drew retires, he is comfortable with his wide receiver group, right? And that's just what it is. So I'm not saying, oh, boy's wrong, but I'm not saying you're all the way right either. Because this regime can't be a part of a rebuild. It needs to be a full reset when we do decide to do that, in my opinion. So,
I will say this. If they lose against Jacksonville in humiliating fashion tomorrow night, they need to have a discussion about, well, MT needs to go have a discussion with Mickey and say, if this season ain't working out, you have until end of next week to send me to Kansas City.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if he will walk for nothing, I would eat that dead cap and take a pick from Kansas City next week and say goodbye to MT, because if they get embarrassed tomorrow night, I have a feeling AK might stay for the rest of his career here, but MT might go. He's going to go at the end of this season anyways. Like, bro, I don't want you suffering like this through this season, man.
I got this for you. What can we expect?
Bro, their top tackles are out, bro. If Trayvon Walker don't have a sack at least minimum, he's a bust. I don't want to hear anything.
What can we? Honestly, if we just look historically at Thursday night games, we're going to expect probably the worst looking football you have seen in your life.
Yeah.
Kickers are going to make their money tomorrow. Yes. Especially if you play in New Orleans, you're going to make your money. Peter Carmichael is going to, look like a kid that doesn't know what he's doing. That Make-A-Wish kid that, They said, "Hey, you want to call plays on Thursday Night Football? You want to get that shot?" That's what he's going to look like tomorrow. Um,
Oh,
Derek Carr is going to look like Derek Carr. I wonder if David's actually going to talk tomorrow because he's been really quiet since the season started. You know, the Carr family. I didn't even know there was that many brothers. I just knew David. It's like 5 of them. And everybody was on Twitter, you know, talking about how we play defense. Well, shit, I didn't know that's how your brother played offense. Because if he did, I would go get Miss Gail's money back for her. She rich, she wealthy, she don't care about it, but $150 million is a lot to me. I will give you your money back, ma'am, and you can give it to me. I will do much better with it than what he is doing. I can guarantee you that. But I expect bad football. It's probably going to be like 12-6. Trevor Lawrence is on one leg, and somehow we're going to make him look like Byron Leftwich at Marshall.
oh my God.
It's just what it is. It's just the life. You know what would be funny? If we win, do like the little lateral thing like we did about 20 years ago, and Blake Groupie misses the field goal to send it to overtime, misses the extra point. That would just be hilarious. That would be. I would just love that.
Yeah.
We can't get any worse than that. Right?
Oh my
So,
God.
it is what it is.
If the Jaguars consistent offense tap that ass, Saints don't. The Saints gonna fire everyone.
Yeah.
Well,
Honestly, they probably won't. They're just going to tell them keep doing what you're doing. This is great. This is what your fans want to see. They want to see mediocrity. I mean, we see mediocrity in the city everywhere else, right? So
I had faith in Dennis Allen until he said that line when we played Arizona. Andy Dalton threw 2 pick sixes. I lost all faith in that team when that happened.
Honestly, it wouldn't have been as bad if you didn't right before the game say like if right before the game you didn't say, hey, Jameis is healthy and he can play and we're going to bench him. He's being benched and we're going with Andy. And like that was the very next game. And so it's like, oh wait, like you're a coach that values performance, right? Well, this guy ain't performing. Like we were winning and now we're losing by 2 touchdowns, courtesy of 2 pick sixes. Like what happened? Like, can he come in? And it's like, well, no, he's still hurt. And I'm like, well, shit. Now I can't even trust you. He said, DeMario Davis is a game time decision tomorrow, which basically means he's about to miss 3 weeks.
Michael Thomas, Marshawn.
Yeah.
Last year, remember Marshawn when he lacerated his kidney? He said, "Oh, he'll be he's coming back soon, right?"
Yeah.
Man, missed 4 weeks or 5 weeks, I believe.
I think it was about 5 weeks.
my God.
Yeah, after he said, I'm like, bro's gonna be back. He's gonna be playing this week. Bro missed 5 weeks after that.
Yeah, I
don't trust him when it comes to injuries.
I don't trust him. I don't trust Auctioner.
It's the same thing with Magic, and same thing with the Pels. I believe the Pels are the Pels supported by Auctioner too, right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
I don't trust teams. I think Drunk mentioned it too. I don't trust teams that are supported by medical groups. I find they have a little too many injuries that are kind of because the Magic is supported by Advent Health, and they've missed a lot of guys in a lot of games because of injuries because of it. So, all right,
that's crazy.
Cool. Aaron Rodgers might come back for the Jets. I don't know, but I'll say this: Zach Wilson's playing better quarterback play than Derek Carr has.
I won't go that far, but I will say this.
I will say this, bro. Zach Wilson against the Chiefs looked better than Derek Carr has looked all season.
Okay, I can agree with that.
That's fair.
If Aaron Rodgers
pretty decent, I'm just saying that.
Man, if Aaron Rodgers comes back from that Achilles, I don't care if he plays like 10 snaps. Gail has to give that medical team that's working with the Jets a blank check. Just whatever you want. Just come down here. Just whatever you want. Because I don't know. I don't know what type of Achilles he tore, but
yeah, for real. You done for the year if you tear that. 9 times.
Honestly, he must have took that stuff he took in the offseason and he just out there on vibes right now.
His LSD, his acid.
Yeah, he on something.
Had to be. Oh man, dang, that's crazy though. But I mean, dang, I didn't know it was like that. I know everything I just said. I know it was like that, man.
Yeah, but we can at some point we can be a family again. I just don't think it's gonna be this season. I think when we get our new coach and Kai
And
ends up
Jonathan
becoming
Taylor.
the general manager, right? And then we get
That's what needs
our
to
new
happen.
quarterback. I think we can be a family again. But
Consulting. I think Mickey got to go to consulting role and give Kai the GM job.
yeah, I mean he has to. Or Kai's gonna be somebody else's GM next year. So
Kai might be the Panthers GM.
he might. You joking, but that's a possibility. That usually happens in the division, right? Falcons have
Jason Light
somebody
ain't losing his job. Fontenot still got a couple years. Fontenot might be canning Arthur Smith soon, but still. Or I don't know. They might blame Desmond Ritter for their issues, but if the Falcons had Mitter right now, they'd probably be like 5-1 right now. I'm gonna be real. As bad as it sounds, if the Falcons had Mitter and he played okay. The one thing about him is he's not turning the ball over right now, although he's had some Jameis-esque throws. I'm looking at that Panthers game and the Patriots game where he's like, what the hell are you doing, bro? But anyway.
He had one last game where I don't know if the receiver ran a wrong route or it was like a miscommunication with Shaheed. And if, Stingley was out there, it probably would have been a pick six. But, it happened.
Yeah, the Saints offense looked incompetent and Stingley didn't even play. We didn't get into that one, though. I didn't even mention that. And the funny part is, if you got this schedule, you would swear to God Dennis Allen made a deal with the devil, right? Cool. Titans just Titans, right? Nobody really take them seriously. They didn't even play Derrick Henry. Cool. Panthers, nothing, right? But here we comes to the Packers game, right? No Christian Watson, no Aaron Jones. Bucks game, Mike Evans leaves in the first quarter. You had a chance to win that game. But Marshawn, we ain't even talking about Marshawn. Marshawn been getting burnt barbecue chicken every week this last couple weeks. We ain't even talking Patriots, Christian Gonzalez out. Texans, no Stingley, no Tank Dell. Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence banged up. Colts, no Anthony Richardson. Bears, no Justin Fields probably. Justin Fields got a dislocated thumb.
They should win
no
too.
Jefferson.
The Saints should win them too against the Colts and the Bears.
They
Bro,
should.
I'm going to torch him. Jonathan Taylor go for $100.50. Doesn't.
Yeah, no, that's accurate. That's accurate.
All right. Dre, you want to roll on to college football, or you got to head out?
I do have to head out, man. I do appreciate y'all having me on. I know y'all got a lot. I saw the script with college football. Washington, they're good, but they also in the WAC-12. So we'll see when they play a real team for once. Roll Tide, and y'all have a good one, man. This was fun. I haven't laughed this much in a long time. So thanks for having me on.
We appreciate you joining us. We appreciate that.
No problem. And Ace, do not let these Saints get to you, man. Don't let Derek Carr.
I got this Twitter, and this Twitter up here. I'm good.
Oh my goodness.
Man, y'all take it easy.
Yes, sir. You take care as well. We appreciate you, man.
All right.
Hey,
Peace.
drunk saying salute. Drunk like you good.
Hey, yo, so I got to show you this that actually it popped up. This is so funny. So, like, speaking of college football, so they had a thing that said HBCU Twitter this week. Alabama State beat Jackson State. Tennessee State on Monday won at Love. Tuesday, we saw a banner on a certain HBCU group that only covers Black college football. And then I don't know what Wednesday is, but I'm going to show you this. I just want you to be able to laugh the way that I have laughed.
I'm hot. You got me laughing, bro. I'm
sweating.
sweating.
You are like burning up. Like,
bro, I am getting cooked right now. Whew.
Let me know if this pops up. Are you there? Oh, there we go. Oh, wait, where'd he go? He disappeared. But anyway, he's coming back.
And all my mic and computer stuff went to hell.
Oh, no. So this actually popped up. And this was so funny. Because this has been going on since Sunday. So Sunday, Alabama State whipped out the belt on Jackson State. Monday, You had Tennessee State saying we want some love. We black too, even though they play in the Ohio Valley. And then Tuesday, you had a certain group who covers only black college football and HBCU sports, but they had a Colorado pennant in the background. Yeah, yeah,
Is it like one of them shirts, the one that had like the Colorado jacket and had the HB at the top?
yeah. It was something like that. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, people need to stop doing this. People need to stop doing this. I don't.
Bruh, I'm gonna be real. These are the same people that was bashing Dion on the way out from Jackson State. Now I can't deal with it sometime. He ain't saying nothing. He got me drinking this.
Dude,
Bruh.
nah. I think the dumbest thing I ever saw was
People tweaking these days, I swear to God.
when I saw Charles James, who is literally only ever showing up on Hard Knocks or like showing up on the NFL's Top 100, when he's like, oh, Colorado's an HBCU, and we all went there. We need to all like we went there. No, stop. Yes, drunk. There's an HBCU group out there that did an interview earlier this week, and they usually have like all the HBCU pennants in the background. But this particular episode, they had a Colorado pennant in the background. It's on our Twitter page. I retweeted it, and I was like, I spy with my little eye something different than the rest.
Bro, I swear, Drunk need to go get a Twitter account, bro. I need to follow him on Twitter. This should be so funny sometimes. I'm going back through this chat, bro. This man got me dead.
Literally, amongst all of the seasoning and the cornbread and the collard greens, there was some stale ass food right in the middle.
What, the Colorado pennant?
Yes. And I was like,
and it's funny if you notice what kind of fan base Colorado have.
Shameful. But
speaking of shameful, you saw Colorado's L to Stanford. That was shameful.
I did. That was pitiful. That was absolutely pitiful. I laid in bed and watched that, and I was like, you know what? I'm just tired because that was last Friday. Yeah, last Friday because I had driven back home. And I was on the road for 2 hours. So stuff like this is why we see certain people is aging.
Plants.
Oh, yeah.
Plants from the industry.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I went to bed when it was 14-0. I woke up in the middle of the night at like 2 a.m. to go use the bathroom. And I was like, what? Colorado lost?
I watched the end of that game. I stayed up to watch the whole thing, bro. And I'm like, I'm like, Travis Hunter, bro. Use a good man corner. But damn, you can't play both sides in the NFL. You get too tired too fast, and you can't tackle to the extent that you need to be able to tackle.
Dude, if you look at his size, he's too. First of all,
he's too skinny.
Well, damn. Did I not try to say that back in 2022 when he was at Jackson State? Tell me, did I not try to say that? Here we go. Put my arms up in the air again. Did I not try to say that when he was at Jackson State in 2022? I literally said he needs to eat a sandwich and put some weight on. Because now, if he goes to the NFL, because think about it. Heaven forbid he go to the NFL and
wait till you have to play the 49ers and have to tackle Debo and George Kittle.
Exactly. You have to tackle Debo and George Kittle. And then when you play offense, you got to worry about
Fred Warner
and Bosa and isn't Greg Ward isn't Ward the safety? Oh yeah, honestly, to be real with you, this is a true statement.
I feel like Dion, when he goes to the NFL, I don't think his best role would be more of like a GM kind of guy than a coach.
He's not going to the NFL.
Now he probably won't, but I'm saying like, if you had a pick of wherever he would ever work in the NFL, he would be best suited as a GM. I feel like because he will get free agents to come play for him.
He will, and plus I feel like he's good with money as well. But I actually agree with this because I mean, like, look, when he was in the SWAC, like, and he's finding out now the Pac-12 is not the SWAC. When he was in the SWAC, he brought a machine gun to a gunfight meant for pistols, and he was blowing everybody away. He had the smoking gun. He had the smoking gun. But now you're not going to just show up and overwhelm teams in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
They got the heart. They got the heart and the belief, but they're not going to show up and blast people. 4 of their next 5 games are against ranked opponents.
Oh, shout out the Las Vegas Aces. They just won the WNBA final. Shout out them ladies over there in Vegas. Go back to back.
Nice day. Nice.
The only two I know are Aja Wilson and Kelsey Plum. So shout out them.
Nice.
And I believe Becky Hammonds is the head coach. So Becky Hammonds goes to Las Vegas, goes back to back. Shout out her.
Nice time to be a Vegas fan. Got the Golden Knights, the Stanley Cup. You got the Aces.
Vegas going back to back.
Yeah, but
Who knows? They probably might get an NBA team soon too.
They're definitely going to MLB team because the Oakland A's are moving there.
Everybody from Oakland going there, but the Warriors.
And that's how it needs to be. But yeah, no, honestly, I don't think Deion's I don't think Deion's like I like him, but I mean, everybody's got their opinions of him and stuff. Like, I like him, but honestly, it's like I don't think that he's saying this whole thing about you better get me now because next year you probably won't. But it's like, dude, he's moving to the Big 12 next year. Oklahoma and Texas are going to be gone, but it's like you still got teams like UCF is going to eventually come up. No diss to HBCUs, but I always felt like he just out recruited most. He did. No, he did. He did.
He had the best talented team, most talented team. I mean,
now I will say he did. He entered. He not entered, but he evolved. He forced other coaches to recruit better talent and do their best to try to match him. Because honestly, I felt
it's kind of like evolution. When a mutation happens in one person, it kind of has that trickle down effect where it forces everybody else to evolve with that mutation that causes evolution to happen.
Exactly. Because I saw firsthand how big they were, how fast they were, how much athletic they were, how much more sound and disciplined they were than everybody else. Like they were just determined every week. But now it's like that's not going to work in a Pac-12 because the speed of the game, you're staring across the field at guys that are just as fast as you. Which, no disrespect to the SWAC, but in the SWAC, they were faster than most of those teams. I'm just going to be real. They were faster. They were better. But now, it's like that's not the case. And I see losses against Utah. I see losses against Washington State that they play, Oregon State. Heck,
it is a brutal schedule coming up.
Probably going to lose to Arizona. And I'm missing another one, but I'm sure they're going to lose that as well.
You got UCLA.
Yeah,
this week, Oregon State next week, Arizona, Washington State, Utah. They could very easily lose out.
So yeah, you're staring 4-8 in the face, or 5-7. It's very likely. Also, too, Caleb Williams will not be repeating as Heisman Trophy winner. I'm just going to say that too.
Phoenix has a better shot.
Yeah. And honestly,
hell, Jaden Daniels got a better shot. If the LSU if their defense could have actually not been as wide open as the Grand Canyon, they would have actually been. Jaden Daniels would be a Heisman front runner right now.
Of course. And honestly, I'm going to be real too. Caleb Williams is going to be just like every other USC quarterback.
Caleb Williams shooting himself in the foot right now.
Oh, yeah, definitely, dude.
With this whole thing of having draft ownership when he get drafted, like, come on now.
I'm telling you, NIL is spoiled. It's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing.
Big Penix winning the Heisman for real.
I can see it. This is why I say
Washington just got to handle their business right now. Rest of the schedules, just handle their business. Stay good.
Don't lose that Apple Cup. Don't lose that Apple Cup at the end because that'll spoil it right there. And when you go to the Pac-12 championship, make sure you are the more physical team.
They need to make sure McMillan is healthy though. They're gonna need him for when they get to the championship though.
Felt that.
Polk stepped up and all that, but hey, they gonna need McMillan. Odunze can't do it all.
Also, too, Georgia loses Brock Bowers to an ankle injury. He had surgery on it to reconstruct it. I believe it was today or yesterday.
Hey, by the way, Dro, that remind me, you owe me an apology for CJ Stroud.
Oh.
I'm waiting for that apology. I was only 5 weeks in, but I'm still waiting for that apology because he's better than already then. Who did we say he was again? Oh, God, I'm forgetting.
Jamarcus Russell?
No, it wasn't Jamarcus Russell we said. I think it was like, oh, God, who was it? He had said, I got to go back into the chat. He had said, I don't think it was Jamarcus Russell. He said it was somebody else. And he was like a really bad guy. I'm like, he was like a real bum. And I'm like,
Here for that.
Huh?
So I must not have been here for that part.
No. He'll show up. He'll know. He know what I'm talking about. He's still gonna have to apologize for that one because he was wrong so far. All right. Anyway, cool. Where were we? Brock Bowers out with that ankle. Georgia will be fine. I think.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Also,
he'll be back by the SEC championship anyway.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm kind of banking it'll be them in Alabama again. But also, Florida State also is in control of their own destiny as well. I'm liking what I'm seeing with each passing week from Florida State. Florida State has actually dominated the teams that are supposed to have dominated. So, like, going in there and
Bruh.
That's actually true.
Okay, he don't F up a game, but some of the throws he does make to like Nico Collins are really good throws.
That's very
Nah. I don't have that one.
Whoa. I don't know about that one.
He ain't getting that one for me. Not drunk. I ain't know about that.
That one.
CJ kind of remind me of a Walmart Drew Brees. You know how I was going the Walmart? Remember how I said who was that? I believe I said Anthony Richardson was Walmart Jaden Daniels. No, who I said he was? Was he Walmart Tim T? No, I don't think it was Tebow. I said Anthony Richardson was, but CJ Stroud Walmart Drew Brees or thrift store Drew Brees. Like between the short intermediate accuracy, that's what I had to say with that. But anyway.
Dude.
I don't know if he has the processing of Drew Brees though, or command. He still has training wheels on his offense.
That's actually impressive. Oh my gosh.
What?
Jordan Travis this season, 13 touchdown passes, 1 interception.
Hey, that's why I want the Saints to draft if they can't take Penix.
That's impressive, man. Michael Penix's numbers, 20 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And how many passing yards? 2,000. So they're almost, Phoenix is airing it out more, obviously. Florida State's running.
Yeah, Travis have a better running game in FSU.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And also the ACC defenses have actually been pretty decent.
Yeah, I will say. If you look at the ACC's like ranked teams and stuff, like it explains a lot. But yeah, Florida State now.
The ACC, like hot take, but the ACC has been more competitive than the SEC. The SEC has not been the same as it normally is defensively. I mean,
it hasn't. I think it's because
besides Georgia.
Honestly, dude, I'm gonna be real with you. Georgia doesn't look.
Georgia defense, like is not all that. You
know, they're good. They're good,
but they're not that.
They're not. I don't sense that like. That fire that I've had the last 2 years, if that makes sense. Because honestly, really, The way it looks right now, I could see Washington, Florida State, and Georgia making it into the playoff, and
And
maybe
Georgia's still winning.
honestly Georgia or Florida State.
Yeah, Florida State got the D line to keep up with them.
Yeah,
The trenches, I mean.
and I was talking with Allison about this a few weeks ago. Florida State, if Florida State can play a complete game and play their best game, which is similar to what we've been saying about another team in Tallahassee. If you play a complete game in your best game, you have the potential to blow people out.
Alabama offense is just kind of boring. They don't have that wide receiver. Like Jermaine Burns, all right. So like he's good, but he ain't like those wide receivers they've had in the past between like the Jamos, the Mechie, more recently, I should say. Then you had Devontae, Ruggs, Waddle, Judy, Ridley. You know what I mean?
I don't think realistically, I just don't see elite quarterback play with Jalen Milroe
No. Mm-mm.
or any of the
He's
quarterbacks.
just doing enough to not F it up. Pretty
Exactly.
much like how with this one, this is pretty much what it is with Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, no, that's accurate. That's very accurate. I think Florida State's frauds. They will be upset this season. I don't know who. I mean, well, Duke. You have Duke Saturday night.
Duke might. If there's any team that will do it, it'll probably be this week against Duke.
Yeah, I mean, because honestly, it's hard but it's going to be hard to go into Duke and do it. If it was in Durham, maybe I'd feel a little bit more nervous about this. But it's in Doak Saturday night. I don't know. And then you have Miami and Doak. That won't be easy. You have Florida in the Swamp. I think. Well, Florida's 5-2 right now, but that's winnable.
Florida's the worst 5-2 I've ever seen.
That part. And then, yeah, you got Wake Forest on the 28th. That's a win. You got the 2-4 Pitt on the 4th. That's a win. Yeah, honestly, if anybody's going to get Florida State, it's going to have to be now. It's going to have to be this weekend. Because after that, I don't see anybody else pulling it off of the next 5 teams on the schedule. I don't see Wake Forest doing it. I don't see Pitt doing it. I don't see Miami doing it because I think Florida State's better than North Carolina right now, and Miami wasn't even better than them. I definitely don't see North Alabama doing it. Florida may show up with some pride, but I don't see Florida doing it either. And Florida State will be motivated because Jordan Travis has not beaten Florida in Gainesville. So I'll leave it with that.
Cool. Do you have anything else to talk about in college football before we do a little bit? I don't know. I haven't heard much of Pitt is the upset game. I feel it.
Oh my gosh, he sounds like someone that I go to school with now. He sounds like someone I go to school with. Yeah, I mean, who knows?
Who knows? It might be to somebody you went to school with.
Nah, he's not. This is not who I think it is. But the elements are going to play a role. But they've been battle tested. We'll see. I will say before we get out of here, Ace,
we need Dalton to have this hockey podcast.
You need to talk to him about that.
Hey, bro, Dalton's a hard person to get a hold of for some reason.
Well, you know what? I'll talk to him for you. Give me a couple days. We've reached that time.
All right.
This is what we need. Give it to us. Texas
34-17.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was like, dang, does he want me to read off some stuff about Texas Southern first, or?
Okay, cool. Read it off, and then I might switch it to 27-17 because the offense hasn't been clicking yet.
All right. Well, Texas Southern comes into the game at 2-4. This is an 8:00 p.m. game, which is 7:00 Texas time. This for Texas Southern is also a late night home game, of course, for their team. They average 26.5 points a game. This is the most points average that FAMU. This is a team that averages the most points that FAMU will see all season so far. Coming into a matchup 2 weeks ago, Southern was a team that averaged 18 points. This week, Texas Southern averages 26.5. They are 1 of 3 on fourth down efficiency. No other stats really.
31-20. Fam.
Okay, he said it, folks. 31-20. 31-20.
Dark Cloud defense does the work.
Sounds about right.
He said, I stayed this long. Wait. I stayed this long, so F it. He's putting his prediction. 38-14 drunk.
Okay.
I
That would
was
be-
thinking that, but once I heard 27 points, I'm like, I don't think they're going to score under 20. So I'm going to just give him 20, and I'll give FAMU 31. I think Dark Cloud defense does the job.
No team in FCS football has cracked 20 on FAMU's defense this season.
Oh, shit. Okay, cool. 34-17 then. That was what my first prediction was anyway. 34-17. Put it down.
Also, too, Andrew Body is not going to be playing in this game for Texas Southern because he has a shoulder injury as well.
34-14.
Bet.
His number went like this, and it's just going right back down.
Bet. But
That's
awesome.
2 field goals, 4 TDs. All right, cool. 6 scores. Yeah, that's about right. 34-14.
Awesome. Well,
Drunk's got 5 TDs and a field goal. I'm got 4 TDs and 2 field goals. So basically a field goal difference between our scores.
Well, folks, that brings an end to this episode. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. Ace looks tired.
Yeah, I've been meaning to do that. I was supposed to do it last week, but then I had to test, and we didn't do the podcast last week, so I had to make it up. I had a lot of pent up energy. We got to get it out this week.
I could see that. See that? You had that pent up. That was waiting.
I was fed up with them people, bro.
Hey, I'm telling you.
Don't worry, Magic Twitter doing the same stupid nonsense. They don't comparing Franz and Paulo.
This is what controversy does.
Not controversy, it's stupidity.
Well, yeah, well, of course, yeah, that too. It's both.
Mix of both, I guess.
No.
But with that being said, guys, we finished another start of a new season. Lucky 7 for me, at least.
Yeah, it was fiery, honestly. So yeah, folks, stay safe, stay blessed. I will be live Saturday at 7 p.m. So tune in for that, as well too. Make sure you join us next week, and then again Thursday night for the FAMU Prairie View breakdown because homecoming is that Saturday. So we're gonna be next 3 episodes are gonna be like that. So stay tuned. Stay safe, stay blessed.
We came back with a bang, and now we're leaving halfway tired. We'll be back for more bangers. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Shout out Drunken Ashton for the chat. Thanks, Trey, for showing up for this podcast. Had a great time. See y'all. Stay safe, stay blessed. Time to sleep. I have work to do, but whatever.
Good night.